Well, you know, coming from small town America, really small towns, rural communities, I was used to sports events being a place where people got very excited supporting their home team, but not used to anybody being rude to the officials or rude to the visiting team and the visiting fans. Well, we had a Mr. E in the community that I'm telling you, it didn't make any difference if it was baseball or basketball. He was a terror. He had been a major part of the problem with the baseball game that nearly got me whipped when Coach Lamb got so upset. But a lot of that was promoted by this fellow being so rude as a member of the audience. Well, you know, the world I grew up in, that behavior wouldn't be tolerated by the school board, by the coaches, by the superintendent, but by the good people of the community. But I guess Mr. E had been that way for years and was just considered, you know, that's just him. I didn't like it. It bothered me. It bothered me that he was allowed to behave in that manner. We certainly wouldn't allow students to behave in that manner. If we had somebody as a student, a team member, be that rude, they'd have been benched at least for a game and maybe thrown off the team. So I didn't like it. And after some pretty gentle hints to him, might as well whistled against the north wind, I decided to take the matter directly to the school board. And I proposed that he be formally warned, and then if he continued to violate, that he be barred from attending school athletic events. Now, boy, that's one that caused the board to take one of those unscheduled breaks so they could kind of reflect on that and talk it over a little bit among themselves in a non-official capacity. But when they reconvened, a little bit of discussion. You really feel that strongly about it? Yes, sir, I do. Well, okay. But you know what? The very next basketball game, in those days I was on the mic doing what commentary was put out over the PA system, and looked up across to the other side, and there's Mr. E, and guess what? A school board member sitting right there with him, and sometimes at some games there was one on each side of him or one behind him. Mr. E got the message. I don't know what they said. I don't know if they said anything. Perhaps they simply were with him. If things got a little too heated with him, they probably changed the subject or something. I don't know. But they handled it beautifully and a better solution. I don't think Mr. E ever probably knew that that young superintendent was ready to bar him, and it would have hurt him. Even though he was rude as all get out, he definitely enjoyed being at those games. You know, in this day and age, you see all sorts of rudeness at big-time sports events, to the point that finally some of the leagues have gotten to the point that they have people watching the crowd, and if you're too rambunctious, you do get removed. But for years, terrible things went on, and they just ignored it. Smart board, smarter than the superintendent. Excellent solution. And as to my knowledge, he never again conducted himself in a manner that was an embarrassment to the community and an embarrassment to the young superintendent.